JJ, there was another clutch time win. What even though they've been somewhat spread out, what has been so good about the execution down the stretch on both ends for you?
I don't know what the updated numbers are. Our defense has been really good in the clutch.
Anything that stood out about tonight? Like, what about the defense? Was it certain guys? Was it the connectivity?
I thought just down the stretch we were once we got Jackson back in there, we were able to execute a couple blitzes, got some turnovers, just getting multiple stops in a row. I know they scored a lot, and they only got credited for 20 fast break points, 27 points off our turnovers. Their early offense, they probably had 70 of their points there. So I thought when we were able to set our defense, it was one of our better defensive games we've had in a long time in the half court.
Did you feel like LeBron had a little extra pop tonight?
Yeah, he did. He was phenomenal. I mean, there was just a few stretches there where they made runs, and the response from him, it's felt like nearly every time we needed a bucket, he just kind of willed, whether it was driving the basketball, getting to the paint, getting to 2 feet, and just was phenomenal tonight.
JJ, what is it that you admire about the way Jake played tonight and has played this way all season for you guys?
I think he's just made a really concerted effort of late with what we call, effort offense, cutting, crashing, running, and got the beneficiary of that tonight. And he hit a big three there in the fourth. Smart hit a big three in the fourth. Vando hit a big three in the fourth. So, just getting those guys to make shots when there is two on the ball is huge for us.
After the Detroit game, LeBron was talking to us and said, if you've watched the Lakers, I haven't played a ton on the ball this year. A lot of that, I imagine, was the fact that Austin was in the lineup for a bunch of the time, and also he was coming off the sciatica. How do you think you'll kind of manage that in this period of the next 3-4 weeks with no Austin, in terms of, how much can you use him on the ball, or is there a point of diminishing return trying to preserve his energy, preserve his body as a 23-year vet?
Some of that is what coverage a team's running. I mean, if a team's just playing drop coverage, I think, we've had him run pick and rolls. I think he's continuing to just do a good job of being a screener and then playing off of that, the side pick and roll there late with Luka. He got roller behind one time. We got a great look, and then we posted him, and Jackson made a great read, just being patient, watching where Londale was, and ended up getting a dunk. So I'm not going to, it's the challenge of having, a guy who's played a certain way his whole career, and then another guy who's played a certain way his whole career. And when you added AR in the mix, that's the challenge. There's only one basketball.
JJ, what did you like about Jackson's energy versus DeAndre, and why did you decide to close with Jackson tonight?
He was playing better.
JJ, you mentioned getting your defense set. How much does and how does Luka and the rest of the team, but especially Luka, considering he shot 20 free throws tonight, getting to the free throw line help you set your defense and execute what you want defensively out of that?
Well, we had multiple times we didn't get matched up after free throws, so it didn't really help us.
And we've talked at times about kind of like the Banshee stuff from last year and guys that their energy infects others and stuff like that. Did you sense that today from Jake and Marcus, where their energy kind of lifted tides, and how important is that for you guys as you move forward to get that sort of consistently?
It's massive, and it's. I look at that as it can't just be one guy. The players that can star in their role by doing a lot of those things, whether it's Smart or Vando or Jake or Jackson, like when the collective group of them is playing the way they did tonight, it's huge for our team. And really, I know it sounds maybe weird, like them doing that, it actually takes the pressure and the load off of LeBron and Luka and AR when he's in the lineup. And it's not like we're not asking those guys to sprint back or asking those guys to, not be physical on defense. We're asking all those things, but those, that group of guys just embracing crashing and running and defending with toughness is huge.
Jay, we've talked about this before, the scorer's mentality. How challenging has that been to maintain throughout your drought, and how rewarding is it for you to have a night like tonight, especially after the last however many weeks you've gone through it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I feel like I go into every game with that mentality. Some games it happens, some games it doesn't. Just really just depends. Tonight, I got going pretty early, and the ball was fine to me, especially in that first half, and I was just able to get going and stay aggressive and finally knock down some shots, so that felt good. And just got to continue to trust my shot. And I tell all the guys just to continue to trust in me and my offensive game.
You've talked a little bit about how you aren't shooting the ball as well as you would expect from yourself or you would hope for yourself this year, but how do you maintain your confidence in your shot even when you're having a season where it's not really clicking like it normally is?
Yeah, I mean, just with the the amount of work that I put in, I think I said this last time, I started working with Bo, and he says control the input, and the output's going to show for itself. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just working on my shot, starting with the basics again, and just kind of going from there, and hopefully I can find my rhythm again, and tonight was just the start.
Jake, the energy that you and Marcus bring to the starting unit, especially on the defensive end, just when the two of you are out there together, how are you able to impact the game defensively? What have you seen from that pairing?
I feel like that's our role. That's the role that me and Marcus, bring to this team. Just that defensive effort, that defensive intensity, the physicality, and when we're in that starting lineup, it starts from the jump. So we have to do it, first punch, and kind of go. I mean, I've always played like that. I've always played hard. I've always played with effort. So just kind of going into every game knowing that I have to change the game defensively and help us, win extra possessions, dive on loose balls, just make winning plays.
Jake, another shooting question for you. 70% from the field tonight, 7 for 10. When did you know you were kind of in a good rhythm?
Probably when I had 18 in the first half, or 11 quick ones. The first shot went down and kind of felt good after that, to be honest. So I knew pretty early.
Hey Jake, you're not going to obviously get 21 every night, but could you speak about your ability as a connector and a guy who can extend advantage when Luka and LeBron both get 2 on the ball?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of when I just talk about roles and the amount of hats that I can wear with this team. Where some nights this is what happens, other nights I'm that defender, connector, crasher, all that kind of stuff. So just continuing to play confidently throughout, but also understanding what my role is going to be each game.
Hey Jake, I know LeBron just turned 41, but for him to have 31 and pretty much control the game, what can you say about him kind of rounding into form after the injury?
It's fun to watch. He's been doing it for so long, and I played against him for 2 years, and now to be on his team, just watching him do it. Still controlling the game, in his 23rd season, it's really cool to watch, and he does such a great job at, not only scoring baskets but also connecting and making the right play every time.
You guys are 11-0 in clutch games now. I think JJ was mentioning just the way you guys play defense in those last 5 minutes, just what stands out to you when you're on the court in those moments, and how can you kind of make that defense last for longer in the game?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to play defense like that for the full 48 minutes. I think that's kind of what we're trying to work towards too right now. I think when it gets to those clutch moments, we understand that we have to play like that in order to win the game. Once it gets to that point, and it was kind of like a back and forth game where we go up and then they kind of come back, and we go up and they come back. So that last however many minutes it was, we just locked in on the intensity and the effort side. We started blitzing, forced a couple turnovers, and then we were just able to play off that.
Jake, you were a fan of this team growing up. You're a fan favorite now. That is a jacket that a lot of fans are gonna, probably want to purchase. Now, did you buy that jacket after you signed?
Shout out Jeff Hamilton.
All right. Now, did you buy that jacket after you signed, or how did that come?
No, I did not. I think he gifted it to the team.
But it's really the pride of being a part of this team. Again, I've done a lot of these press conferences over the years. Normally, when the game is over, they don't wear a team gear. I don't know. Just the pride of being a part of this team now.
I said it when I first got here. It means something to wear, Lakers across your chest. Like you said, I grew up a fan. My dad grew up a fan of the Lakers. We understand, and I understand, the impact that it has, to play for this team, and the impact it has, for the fans to come out and watch us every game and support us and cheer for us. I wear the Lakers with pride across my chest every night.
Thanks, Jake.
Marcus, I think the stat is you guys are 11-0 in the crunch time games now, and LeBron, Luka, yourself, you've been through a lot of those situations. Is that part of what's helping, or what have you been seeing in those situations?
I definitely think it has something to do with it. It's not the full story, but it definitely helps. With guys like LeBron, Luka, and myself, who's been in that. But that's part of the game. We got to obviously figure out how, to win games that's not in the crunch time and in that matter. But it's good to have those moments because a lot of times, especially down the line, games come down to the crunch time, so to be able to win those games are big.
JJ side of the defense in tonight's game, just kind of tightening up then. It's obviously difficult to play 48 minutes of defense like that, but how do you guys use that as a template while acknowledging that it's not easy to do?
Just go out there and do it. I mean, everybody's trying to do it in this league, and understand that we're not perfect. Things are going to happen. But do everything that you can, best of your ability, and that's all we can ask for. And usually when you do that, you get a good result usually, especially when the effort is there. And that's all we're asking for is just constantly bring that urgency that we have on not just the offensive, but defensive end as well.
Marcus, you guys closed the game with Jackson on the floor. Just what have you seen from him in terms of what he's bringing you guys in terms of energy and also on defense?
Yeah, I mean, his ability, to control the paint for us has been huge, and coming in and giving DA a little breather and a break, and, those guys interchanging. But, just his ability to go get the ball, at the highest point, no matter where we throw it, and then defensively to be able to alter shots, whether he's blocking them or just changing shots for us, allows our defense to pick it up from our guards even more, and to have that urgency that he brings is huge for us.
How contagious can playing with urgency and effort and urgency be?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go, right? How contagious can that be? And also how, contagious can the opposite be when guys aren't coming with that energy?
We see it all the time. It's very often, it's very contagious. Energy is contagious whether it's negative or positive. So we've had games where, the urgency wasn't there and it has trickled down the line. And then, you see games like tonight where the urgency is and it trickles up the line. So, just understanding that, for us, we have to come out and we have to be positive and we have to have good energy so that energy can flow.
Marcus, Jake has just been solid all year long.
Say it again?
Jake has just been solid all year long for you guys. What has he done to impress you?
Just his ability to stay consistent. Even when things don't go his way, he's in the gym working and we trust his work. So for us, we knew he was going to have a game like this, and to finally see it happen, it's big for him, but it's also big for us, and we're happy for him.
Marcus, how does having the ball in your hands kind of get the most out of what you can do on the offensive end? I mean, you threatened the triple-double tonight. You had a dagger three. How does playing with the ball in your hands more help that for later in the game?
Just my ability, to create, for others, and my ability to create for myself. But just always making the right play. I have a good IQ of the game, and allowing me to use my size and my skill set, because I can see the floor just as good as anybody out there as well, and making the right play. So for me to have the ball in my hands definitely is good for this team. And just got to find out ways to do it within our offense.
Marcus, speaking of Jake, he was just talking about how, the two of you, the defensive energy you guys bring to the starting unit and how it starts, especially, from the opening tip. Just what have you seen in terms of the way the two of you have been able to make an impact, with the starters on that end?
Yeah, it's been huge. I mean, we talk, every day, but, me and Jake coming from Memphis together, having that connection that we built over there, to bring it over here. Jake's 6'8", I believe. So And I know he doesn't get a lot of credit for his defense, but he's a really good defender. And we just got to continue to feed his confidence on that end because we're definitely going to need him. But he's right. Everything he's talked about, that's what we've talked about, especially from us two. We're so gifted and talented on the offensive end that, we on the defensive end have to do some things to kind of balance that out for us. And that starts with us, to come out and bring that energy when we're out there.
Looked like you just had some pop on both ends of the court tonight, kind of consistently a couple days after the 41st birthday. Was there anything? Could you feel that going in, or was just kind of what was required for the team?
A couple days helped. We did come in the morning of the 31st, got some work in, and then had the rest of that day off. And then yesterday we had off, but got a great workout in this morning. I felt pretty good about how I felt physically and mentally. So. Try to get what I got.
Got some help from various guys tonight, but from Jake and Marcus in that starting lineup. What did you see from those two on both sides?
Well, obviously, it started with Jake. He was locked in from the beginning. Marcus on both ends of the floor, obviously, taking a challenge on guarding Ja. But then just him rebounding the ball, sharing the ball, him scoring the ball as well. Those two guys set the tone for us. We needed it.
You guys got a big corner three past the midway point of the fourth quarter from
Vanderbilt. Yeah.
He was out of the rotation for about 12 games or so, and he's shooting close to 50% from three since the comeback. What have you seen out of the work he's putting behind the scenes to be able to produce this way?
Obviously, we need his athleticism. We need his the way he can guard multiple positions. So it's very key that he's back in the lineup, and we love that. But we also need him to knock down, a corner shot. Occasionally when teams are not going to guard him. And they kind of disrespect him over there, not even contesting his shots. And, he's put a lot of work in every day at practice, just shooting that same shot. Luka attracts so much attention. They're either putting a 5 on him or roaming 4. But he's not hesitating. He's just shooting it. No matter if he missed one or missed 2 in a row, he's just, shooting the next one. Like you said, that was a big-time 3.
You talked about Jake. What's impressing you the most about his play, what he's doing for you guys?
He does a little bit of everything, obviously. I think his rebounding, his offensive rebounding gives us extra possessions. Sneaky athletic. His athleticism helps us. We're a team that has to gain rebound. You don't have just one guy that rebounds every night, so we gain rebound. He gives us that as well at the guard position.
You and Luka had 30 apiece for the first time since March. Like, what was working where both of y'all were able to comfortably get into y'all flow offensively in the same game?
I don't know. We just, just playing in rhythm. Trying to find ways how we can be productive. Obviously, Luka did a great job of getting to the free throw line. Also, mixing in a couple middies, made a step back 3, big time shot there. Myself just trying to sprinkle in a little bit here, a little bit of there. Just trying to be consistent and be super efficient. With my play. So we worked, well off each other today, and we led the group.
You guys haven't had a clutch time game in a couple weeks. Y'all are obviously undefeated this season. In those situations, game-wise, like, what do you feel like worked tonight, and what do you feel like has been a common thread over the course of this season?
We made some big-time plays offensively. We were sharing the ball. Guys made some big-time shots. He mentioned Vando's 3, Jake's 3 on the other side of their bench, the end of the shot clock. Jax had a big-time dunk down the middle. So those are key moments. And then defensively, we was able to get a couple stops, get a couple rebounds that allowed us to kind of start pushing the lead up.
Luka found it was like a 70-foot outlet pass. You got the seal, and from what I remember this season, it was happening relatively often last year. The limited amount of time you guys played together. Is that just a sign of your guys' innate chemistry when that happens?
One of the best quarterbacks, and I'm a pretty good receiver. When it comes to that, it's my job to not allow the defense to break that up or steal the ball. And, he put it on time on target and made it a lot easier for me.
You drawing some Randy Moss inspiration and not showing your hands until...
Yeah, for sure. I watched him a lot growing up, and, he did that a lot. And when I played football, I kind of took that tip from him as well, and I guess brought it to the game of basketball as well when you have that seal.
When the finishing that you had in the paint, when it's coming from all different angles, how do you still kind of build a rhythm to where one's left-handed floater, one's a fadeaway, but it's all different types of shots. But it seems like when you make one, you can kind of keep going.
Well, it's just kind of wherever the side of the defensive zone, I'm able to, make multiple shots in the paint, multiple shots on the perimeter, multiple shots in the restricted area. So having the ability to go left, having the ability to go right, either if it's a jumper or a floater or a jump hook or whatever the case may be. Just, like I said, I've worked on every craft of my game throughout my years, a lot of years, and so I'm comfortable with whatever shot I take.
Luka, what's made this team effective in crunch time when the game is tight this season and tonight as well?
I think we have a lot of people that can close the game. I think especially me and Bron. He took over today. Vando hit a big shot, Jake hit a big shot, Jackson hit a big dunk, so it's kind of just everybody.
JJ also pointed to the defense in that stretch and wondered what you saw on that end and kind of how you contributed to it and what you think you guys can take out of that and try to apply to a full game, as hard as that is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when the game gets tight, you kind of press up, play better defense. But like you said, we're trying to get it to 48 minutes.
Vando, before he was pulled from the rotation by JJ, was shooting, I don't think, high 20s or something like that from three. And since he's been back, he's shooting around 50%. What have you seen in terms of the stuff behind the scenes that has led to him to have this type of production in games?
Yeah, he's been working on this shot a lot. I saw some things this summer already. He was showing that he was working on it, and that's how I get the confidence up. And if they're gonna let him shoot, now always passing the ball when he's open. But he's been doing, obviously hitting those shots. But there's so many other things he does for us that's winning.
We know the other stuff he does, right? So if he is going to be this disruptor, on ball, rebound, steals, deflection, all that stuff with a 3-point shot, is something like that this team needs?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what we need for him. Keep doing what he's doing. We all support him, and like I say, he's a lot of times key to our winning games.
Luka, you mentioned finishing the game with Jackson. Just what's he added for you guys this year, not only in this game but in other games as well?
I mean, I think honestly the most improvement he did during this summer, I think it's just following us, in the pick and roll, when Bron or me are on the post. I think just finding the right pocket, of how do you say it. I think that's his best improvement, but obviously other stuff, blocking shots, making dunks, he's been doing that.
Whether it's Marcus, Vando, Jackson, Jake, how contagious can playing with urgency and energy be, especially defensively, and how can that kind of trickle up or trickle down throughout the roster?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I think we started the game great. It was 15-5 in the first couple of minutes. We started defending, running, and then we kind of went down, but those guys picked it up. They went on a big run, and we managed to stay together and get the win.
Look, this is the 42nd time you and LeBron played together, and the third time both of y'all scored 30 apiece each. What do you feel like was working tonight where you both were able to have that kind of offensive success together?
I think just trying to get downhill a lot more than usual for me, I would say. But for him, he's just playing his game, attacking whatever he sees, being efficient and helping us win the games.